Peace. Noun. A state of tranquility, quiet, and harmony, absence of violence. For instance, a state free from civil disturbance. Peace. Noun. A state free of oppressive and unpleasant thoughts and emotions. The safety equipment will give me some peace of mind. Peace. Noun. Harmony in personal relations. Peace. Noun. A state free of war, in particular war between different countries. Reference.
Yes, isn't that the giant question?
Depends.
Credo che bisognerebbe prima chiedersi se sia possibile la pace dentro noi stessi.
世界和平有冇可能？我覺得唔係太可能嘅嘢嚟嘅。
Yes, peace on earth if there's unity in all of us.
Ik ben bang van niet. Het zit in de aard van de mens om oorlog te maken.
많은 어려움이 있겠지만 가능하다고 생각합니다.
Yes.
네. J'ai l'impression que tant qu'il y aura des hommes, il n'y aura jamais de paix.
Φυσικά και είναι εφικτή. Απλώς πρέπει να κατανοήσεις πρώτα την αγάπη.
Теоретически, конечно, возможен, а практически, мне кажется, нет.
Teško, ali nadajmo se da jeste.
Yo creo que la paz es posible si colaboramos todos.
Με τη λογική του ανθρώπου, όχι.
Yes, I do believe peace on earth is really possible.
冇可能，永遠都唔會發生。
Tak, jest możliwe.
No, non è possibile la pace nel mondo.
できると思います。
Diría que es casi imposible que haya paz en la Tierra, porque las opiniones humanas nos llevan a discutir y dejar de pelear en parte sería perder nuestra humanidad.
Sì, sempre.
No. Prima pensate a far pace con mia madre e me e poi pensiamo alla pace del mondo.
Zertega pogrijpa ne more biti meni svoj.
As long as people they can get together, there'll be peace and harmony.
Yani şu sistem içinde mümkün değil. Yes.
不可能吧？
Jest możliwy, wszystko zależy od ludzi.
Moguće mir, ali mi ga ne želimo očigledno.
Постигането на световен мир е възможен, ако хората изчезнат от земята.
I don't think so. Too many egos, too many people, too many weapons.
If love is equally distributed to all of the world, peace can be shared.
Curiosamente, hacía mucho tiempo que el planeta no estaba tan limpio. ¿Puede que sea todo esto un ajuste de cuentas de la naturaleza con nosotros?
Hay un dicho que seguramente vos lo conocés. Dios perdona siempre. Nosotros perdonamos de vez en cuando. La naturaleza no perdona nunca. Los incendios, las inundaciones, los terremotos. O sea, la naturaleza está pataleando para que nos hagamos cargo del cuidado de la naturaleza.
Oggi comincia la settimana Laudato Si, che finirà domenica prossima, nella quale si ricorda il 5° anniversario della pubblicazione della enciclica. In questi tempi di pandemia
nel quale siamo più consapevoli dell'importanza della cura della nostra casa comune. Auguro che tutta la riflessione e l'impegno comune aiuti a creare e fortificare atteggiamenti costruttivi per la cura del creato.
Ha ridotto l'inquinamento e ha fatto riscoprire la bellezza di tanti luoghi liberi dal traffico e dai rumori. Ora, con la ripresa delle attività, tutti dovremmo essere più responsabili della cura della casa comune. Apprezzo le molteplici iniziative che in ogni parte del mondo nascono dal basso e vanno in questo senso. La crisi provocata dal coronavirus ha messo in luce l'esigenza di assicurare la necessaria protezione anche alle persone rifugiate per garantire la loro dignità e sicurezza. Vi invito a unirvi alla mia preghiera per un rinnovato ed efficace impegno di tutti e a favore della effettiva protezione di ogni essere umano, in particolare di quanti sono stati costretti a fuggire per situazioni di grave pericolo per loro o per le loro famiglie.
Pope Francis appeals to world leaders to take action on climate change.
Saludo a los participantes en la cumbre sobre la acción climática.
In a video message delivered yesterday to the United Nations Climate Action Summit, the Holy Father called the issue, quote, one of the principal challenges we have to face. Here to take a look at the environment from a Catholic perspective is Father Thomas Petrie, moral theologian and professor at the Dominican House of Studies in Washington, D.C. He's also co-host of The Church Alive, Saturday mornings on EWTN Radio. Father, welcome back to the program. In this video address, Pope Francis said, quote, the problem of climate change is related to issues of ethics, equity, and social justice. In this video address, Pope Francis said, quote, the problem of climate change is related to issues of ethics, equity, and social justice. Social justice.
Try this at your next party. Ask your guests to define the term social justice. Okay, it's not charades or Twister, but it should generate some interesting conversation, especially if your guests are on the political left. Since everyone on that side of the spectrum talks incessantly about social justice, they should be able to provide a good definition, right? But ask 10 liberals to tell you what they mean by social justice, and you'll get 10 different answers. That's because social justice means anything its champions want it to mean.
So my name is Adriana Laurent, and I'm a fourth-year international student in the Faculty of Land and Food Systems, and I'm here to talk to you about climate justice. So climate justice is the intersection between social justice and climate change. So climate justice is the intersection between social justice and climate change. So I'm a member of an organization called Love Intersections. So we're a group of queer, hopeful millennials who are also people of color who believe that storytelling is a powerful agent of change. And we want to talk about these really sticky and difficult social justice issues through a lens of personal connection. So how exactly are climate change and social justice related? So climate change will accentuate existing stressors in marginalized communities. It'll deepen the struggle of those who are already struggling with issues like poverty and food insecurity, who already have insecure housing. And it's not to say that all of the world's problems are caused because of climate change, but instead how these pre-existing conditions of inequality will interact with the severe impacts of climate change on these marginalized communities. And it's not to say that all of the world's problems are caused because of climate change, but instead how these pre-existing conditions of inequality will interact with the severe impacts of climate change on these marginalized communities. Pre-existing conditions of inequality will interact with the severe impacts of climate change on these marginalized communities.
Pre-existing conditions of inequality will interact with the severe impacts of climate change on these marginalized communities.
That beneath the political opportunism and intellectual laziness of the term social justice was a pernicious philosophical claim, namely that freedom must be sacrificed in order to redistribute income. Ultimately, social justice is about the state amassing ever-increasing power in order to do good things. What are good things? Well, whatever the champions of social justice decide this week. But first, last, and always, it is the cause of economic redistribution. According to the doctrine of social justice, the haves always have too much, and the have-nots never have enough.
Consider, my dear viewers, a world without money, without class divisions, where everyone gives according to their abilities and takes according to their needs. Sounds pretty sweet, no? To German poet and philosopher Karl Marx, such a communist utopia was not only possible, it was inevitable, or what he called the march of history. Though deeply influenced by Hegel, who proposed that history develops through the abstract concept of world spirit, Marx believed that it is not conflict of ideas that propels history, but rather conflict arising out of our relation to material goods that will bring history to its end, specifically our working conditions. Marx calls this historical process dialectical materialism. Initially, humanity was concerned only with the most basic acts of our species, producing for personal survival. But as the population multiplied, economic systems were established to address the needs of all. And with economics, an individual's relationship to the products they create changes, for one is no longer producing for their own immediate needs. They are producing for others. Fast forward to the Industrial Revolution, where mankind created mechanisms to fulfill the needs of many with unprecedented efficiency. These mechanisms, or capital, are owned by individuals, leading to enormous concentrations of wealth. And for the tired worker who must operate these machines, there is no getting ahead. For in order for the capitalist to maximize profit, he must pay the workers little more than is necessary to survive. To Marx, this economic system of capitalism thrives on exploitation and creates widespread unhappiness through what he calls alienation. For starters, I am alienated from the fruits of my labor. If I create a turnip, it'll be sold to another. And in exchange, I'll be paid a wage and become as much of a commodity as the thing I produce. Thus, I am removed from my work. I do not see myself in my labor. Capitalism also alienates us from each other. For the worker to produce efficiently, the capitalist tells them they are in constant competition for their job, thereby turning our fellow man into an adversary rather than an ally. Furthermore, capitalism alienates us from our very nature. Creating is a great source of satisfaction for our species. But because we are forced to make things that we have no personal investment in, our lives become a burden. As time goes on, and industrial powers become increasingly concentrated among a select elite, the gap between the working class and the capitalist will only become wider. To Marx, this gap will eventually become so pronounced that the workers, in their profound frustration, will rise up and overthrow the oppression of the few and usher in a new society. A society in which there is no private property, there are no class divisions, where people's labor is held for the common good, and where all work according to their ability. And that, my friends, is communism. Even today, Marxism is one of the most powerful ideologies in the world. And to some, the ushering in of the Marxist utopia still lies in the not-too-distant future.
You don't have to take my word for it. That is precisely how a UN report on social justice defines the term. Quote, social justice may be broadly understood as the fair and compassionate distribution of the fruits of economic growth. Social justice is not possible without strong and coherent redistributive policies conceived and implemented by public agencies. Let me repeat that. Strong and coherent redistributive policies conceived and implemented by public agencies. And it gets worse. The UN report goes on to insist that, quote, present-day believers in an absolute truth identified with virtue and justice are neither willing nor desirable companions for the defenders of social justice. Translation? If you believe truth and justice are concepts independent of the agenda of the forces of progress as defined by the left, you are an enemy of social justice. Present-day believers in an absolute truth identified with virtue and justice are neither willing nor desirable companions for the defenders of social justice.
Climate change affects all of us, but climate change does not affect all of us equally. We sometimes tell ourselves that climate change is the great leveler. We sometimes tell ourselves that the reason to be scared of climate change is because it threatens humans with imminent extinction. But really, we know that this is unlikely. After all, we humans can adapt. We can change our lifestyles, we can move. Gosh, if things get really bad, we can hide in bunkers. But who is this we? Honestly, I guess it's people like me. People who can use money, social networks and borders to protect themselves from the worst of it. For the richest among us, a crisis can just be an opportunity to make even more money. For the richest among us, a crisis can just be an opportunity to make even more money. There are many factors that disadvantage people, but one of them is certainly race. Within countries and between continents, it's people of colour and indigenous people that bear the brunt of environmental destruction. So how will we respond as people fight to survive? After a disaster, who will we support and who will we ignore? Will we help families fleeing for their lives, or will we build walls and let them drown on our shores? And will we gas and arrest people for having the audacity to demand safety? I'm scared that 2020 is already showing us the answers to these questions. You see, my biggest fear for climate change isn't something hypothetical. It's that we'll continue what we're doing, that we'll continue with environmental destruction, and that we'll continue to silence those that suffer the worst consequences of our actions. This is why the idea of imminent human extinction isn't just a scientific stretch, it's also actively unhelpful. If we convince ourselves that extinction is the threat, then we can convince ourselves that billionaires building bunkers and spaceships is the solution. But the real danger is that we'll continue to heap hardship on those that are already the worst off. And the solution to that is climate justice. That means fighting climate change by fighting inequality and protecting those that are the most vulnerable to the changes we're causing. Fixating on human extinction is unhelpful for the same reasons as fixating on all lives matter. Because of course all lives matter, but not all lives are under the same threat. It's why instead we say, for state violence, for pollution, for poverty, for climate change, that black lives matter.
We want peace. We don't want to be killed. We don't want to be hurt.
Before the general audience, the Pope toured St. Peter's Square in the Popemobile, accompanied by a group of children. Later, Pope Francis was greeted in the square by a music band who played for him this joyful melody. In his catechesis, the Pope reflected on the commandment to keep holy the Lord's Day and spoke of the meaning of rest.
Il concetto di vita oggi dominante non ha il baricentro nell'attività e nell'impegno, ma nell'evasione. Guadagnare per divertirsi, appagarsi. L'immagine modello è quella di una persona di successo che può permettersi ampi e diversi spazi di piacere. L'uomo non si è mai riposato tanto come oggi, eppure l'uomo non ha mai sperimentato tanto vuoto come oggi.
Pope Francis recalled that in the Bible, God's rest is related to looking joyfully at reality, and that this is the model of authentic rest.
La domenica non è il giorno per cancellare gli altri giorni, ma per ricordarli, benedirli e fare pace con la vita. La domenica è la giornata per fare pace con la vita, dicendo la vita è preziosa. Non è facile, a volte è dolorosa, ma è preziosa. La domenica è la giornata per fare pace con la vita.
I have told you this, so that you will not give up your faith. You will be expelled from the synagogues, and the time will come when those who kill you will think that by doing this they are serving God. People will do these things to you because they have not known either the Father or me. But I have told you this, so that when the time comes for them to do these things, you will remember what I told you.